What we're going to do is take you with us today on a branding on a ranch in the Southwest. You know, we live in Arizona, so ranches down here, a lot of family run outfits, and they may brand 2 or 3 times a year, and we're just getting set up for one of the brandings. Now, we fed at 4 this morning, we rode out at 5, and we're getting to the pasture about daylight, and that's what we call catching them in bed. Now, there's a lot of reasons of why we do things to make a branding, and I'll try to cover them. And what you're watching now is that the cattle are turned into a trap. They're on water, and it's been the last 5 days have been throwing cattle that direction, so the little calves don't have to walk a long ways on the day we're actually going to brand. Then we get them gathered up in the morning and thrown inside a corral where we can sort out of them. Now, the reason sort out of is that you look for strays. Sometimes you want to cut your bulls out. This particular outfit, the boss has certain brands and certain pairs that he wants in the corral. So he tells you the brand, and then you see if it's fresh, meaning it has a calf on it. You match the calf to the cow, what we call pairing out, and you just ease them over there towards the gate. You got somebody sitting in the hole. And something important for you to watch today is that you're going to see some young folks involved, and that's the reality about the bottom line on family ranching. Is that the beauty of working with people like this is that it's kind of fun because the young kids are involved and they actually physically do things instead of sitting on a log playing with their computers. And the fathers are teaching the kids, and this is several generations. In the outfit we're on now, that's been going on for quite a while, so it's good to see the young people coming, and there's nobody gets mad, nobody's losing their temper, nobody's yelling and screaming. It's all done pretty darn nice, so it's a real pleasure to work with them. These are typical desert cattle. You want the horns on them for they can protect their children, and they can pull fruit down out of the cactus with them. This is Deb riding our horse Uma. This is an Azteca. She's an Andalusian crossed with a quarter horse. She's 5 years old, bridle horse, and she's for sale. And she'll be going back east with us maybe this summer if somebody's interested back east. If you are, you just got to get a hold of us. We can talk particulars to you. But she's rode English or Western. We started her and trained her, so it's all on us, whatever she's got going for her. But she's real nice to be around, and you can put about anybody on her. We've had several guests this winter come to visit and go riding on her, and she takes good care of him. The horse I'm on, he's a Percheron Cross ranch horse, 9-year-old gelding. And he was rode English, and I'm just getting him on the payroll to be a ranch horse, and he's obviously a Percheron Cross, so he's got some pull in him. He's a good traveling horse, so he's also for sale. He'll weigh probably 1250. Nice big hip, big stout horse, carry a big person. But now what you're watching is that we put a new set of cattle in the corral, and we're working the cows out. You try to take about half the cows and get rid of them, so when you're roping the calves, you're not going over the top of all the cows. The boss is on the gate, and then he's having me bring them. That's what this is about. And as you know, I teach horsemanship, and if you watch my horse, you'll understand all the different moves I'm so adamant about. It's because on a ranch, that's actually what happens. You have to have departures, all front end, hind quarter, everything that a horse has to do happens right there in that corral when you're sorting. Now, if you notice, when we're bringing the cattle, it's like a gas pedal. I watch the movement of the cattle, and as they start to move the right direction, I back off so we can turn it into a flow. Because if I run over the man in the gate, then he's gonna have too many cattle go by him at once, and you don't want that. So when it's done right, it's like an orchestra, and it's really fun. Of course, it's good for your horses. And same thing, it's fun to go to a branding like this because you keep your horse back instead of walking around with a stick in your hand. So it's pretty nice. Now you'll notice the size of the calves. You'll see how it works out down this country. There's just older calves, younger calves. That's why the branding's 2 or 3 times a year. But it's pressure and release is what you're watching in the cow work. When I teach cattle working, it's always done. You never get out of a trot. You don't need to. You'll find out that if you have to run on a ranch, it means you were late. The young man on the left, you can see he's learning, and we encourage that. And what you got to understand about a family branding is that you got all different kinds of people there, and it's a social event plus it's a learning event. And the way these calves are being stretched out here is called to the stake, and there's a stake drove in the ground with an inner tube on and a loop. That's put on the front feet, and then I hold, or whoever's roping holds the hind feet, and then you don't need a bunch of people camping on the calf. This is for a short crew is what it's for. And when you're done, you just pop your dallies, and then the calf will jump up and spread his front feet and take the loop off the front feet. So for a short crew, it's a pretty good operation. Works really great. I've been to brandons where you have 5 of those in the ground at one brandon. Here's a gal that's lost her rope, and the man on the ground just handed me her rope, so I just dally on top of mine and go on with it. That's some of the things you pay attention to and you look out for, and you're always ready. Your peripheral has to be really on top of its game because there's a lot going on. Here I'm going to throw a Del Viento, let the calf walk through it, and then take 2 hind feet. I apologize for not seeing the loop, but you have to take my word for it. But there again, I'm going as close to the stake as I can. The help's already there to set up. And as you can see, these calves are pretty small. We just drag them by 2 hind feet, or the real little ones, you can bring them in by a neck. And the horsemanship is what it's all about, actually. That's me stretching one out against the inner tube. And I vary it. Sometimes I'll back my horse up, and other times I'll face away and ride away. If you're branding all day long, then you got to be able to do whatever it takes to do it. You got to be hand enough to handle any situation. We ended up roving some wild cattle after this, so it got pretty western. But anyway, this is how it's done out west.